I'm Sheila Brummer with Siouxland Public Media News. About half of the workers at Tyson Foods' Dakota Dunes office did not move to Arkansas and will lose their jobs. That's according to a Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act notice. About 262 Tyson workers at the Dunes office will have their employment terminated by the end of July. Back in the fall of 2022, Tyson made a surprise announcement that it would close the offices of its fresh meats division in Dakota Dunes and a few other locations. The Dunes office employed about 500 white-collar workers. The workers did have the opportunity to move to Springdale, more than 500 miles away in northwest Arkansas. Republican Governor Kim Reynolds yesterday signed a bill into law that limits the Iowa State Auditor's ability to access some information, like tax returns or medical records, for audits and investigations. State Auditor Rob Sand, the only Democrat in statewide elected office, says it's the worst pre-corruption bill in Iowa history. It forbids Sand from going to court to compel reluctant state officials to turn over records. Sand said the mediation process set up in the bill gives the governor the power to block access to information that would expose wrongdoing. During a recent appearance on Iowa Press, on Iowa PBS, Reynolds said executive branch officials should be able to resolve disagreements without going to court. Governor Kim Reynolds signed 67 bills into law yesterday, completing action on all the bills that cleared the 2023 Iowa legislature. And Nebraska's voter identification requirements became law yesterday. State lawmakers overcame one last filibuster, and Governor Jim Pillen immediately signed the legislation. The multi-agency responders at the partially collapsed building in Davenport are now turning their attention to shoring and securing the building. Last night, Iowa Task Force 1 finished its survey of the building. 3 residents are still missing. Thursday night, dogs and handlers were patrolling the wreckage looking for their remains. In a news conference, Task Force 1's Chief Rick Halloran says their work has to be responsive to the changing conditions of the building to keep his team safe.
As the temperature rises up and down during the day, this building is expanding and contracting. So it's talking to us. It's telling us what it wants to do. Some of it is as much as we want to, we can't because the building's not letting us.
Already, supports have been installed on the building's exterior. While the building will eventually fall, these supports will help prevent that collapse from happening on its own. Last night, 13 members of the Sioux City Division of Iowa's Urban Search and Rescue Team were deployed to Davenport to assist. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem's funding source for a troop deployment to the U.S.-Mexico border is the state's Emergency and Disaster Fund, a revelation that has caused a top-ranking lawmaker to criticize the plan and question its legality. Lee Schoenbeck, a Watertown Republican and president pro tem of the state Senate, said securing the border is a federal responsibility. He said Governor Noem is acting on, quote, a political agenda unrelated to South Dakota issues, and is violating the trust placed in the executive branch to spend the state's money as intended. Schoenbeck says she cannot use the money to secure the border. She needs to follow the law. Governor Noem announced the impending troop deployment Thursday in a news release, saying she plans to send at least 50 National Guard soldiers to help secure the nation's southern border this summer. She and a dozen other Republican governors, including Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds and Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen, are responding to requests for assistance from the governor of Texas. Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig announced this week the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship is expanding its existing partnership with Ducks Unlimited to build water quality wetlands across the state. The two have had a partnership since 2020. The new 5-year, $7 million cooperative agreement includes the goal of constructing more than 60 water quality wetlands and installing other proven practices like multi-purpose oxbows, bioreactors, and saturated buffers. For Siouxland Public Media News, I'm Sheila Brummer. Have a fantastic Friday, and thanks for listening.